Hello, Crack Attack here, and today we'll be reviewing the new Dota autochess patch notes, which is the Dragon's Relic treasure, released on the 25th of March 2021. So let's get right into it. So the first new mechanic they're introducing in this patch is the Relic mechanic. So at rounds 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, a new Relic box will replace the old loot box, offering a Relic which fills your neutral item slot on your courier. So essentially they're introducing neutral items into the game, which each lasts 10 rounds from when you first open the Relic. So let's say you get a Relic at round 10, it'll last you all the way to round 20, at which point you'll be replacing it with a new Relic box, presenting you with 3 different other options. So let's get right into the Relics on offer. So the first one is Captain Greenskin's treasure. Get 2 loot boxes in your loot round. So loot rounds are now 15, 25, 35 onwards, and so on and so forth. So I'm not personally a fan of this item at all, because all it does is give you 2 loot boxes at, your loot round. When compared to all the other relics, I think it's a bit average. Probably pass on it unless you have no other choice. Next up, Weaponsmith. I'm not a fan of this either. All this does is upgrade your loot box, and honestly, compared to the other options, pretty underwhelming. Based on my experience with Weaponsmith, it just felt like I just had opened a new normal loot box, really. Nothing good there. Great Vault, upgrade max interests per round to 6. I'm actually I'd say it's decent, maybe leaning towards good, because if you completely juice out and squeeze the value, you can get 20 gold for the 10 rounds you have on that relic, so not bad, which is, but also the effects amplified a bit further because now your max interest is capped at 40 instead of 60, so there's good value there. Next one, 2 times reward for win-lose streak. Compensation equals to your streak when terminated. This one's really good for snowballing in the right situation. So this is actually quite high value. So if you have a streak of 10, you lose that streak, you get 10 extra gold on top of that extra 2, 4, 6 gold you get on your win streak. So this one can be quite high value in general. So opt for this one if your win streak is actually streaking. Monopoly Contract, really good for reroll based compositions, as things like Meepo Kia, Assassins. Any composition with a lot of 3-star units gains a lot of value off Monopoly Contract, because for each 3-star unit you have, the moment you click Monopoly Contract, you get instant gold gain, and that instant gold gain can snowball you quite well mid-game, so big fan of Monopoly Contract in certain compositions. Sin Reaper, really good if you're snowballing as well. 4 XP translates to 4 gold per turn if you win on enemy board, so if you're snowballing, win streaking, the same old deal with Shirokosuro Certainty. Sorry, I butchered that name. But yeah, this is really high value as well in good situations. So I'm a big fan of these 3 actually in total. Family discount, it's okay. Even when you're re-rolling for a piece, right? By the time, let's say you're trying to get Meepo or Kia, for instance, you're going to get 9 Meepos, 9 Shadow Fiends max. And within 10 rounds is unlikely, but maybe for Assassins, it might be a bit better because 1 costs go to 0, 2 costs go to 1, so it's a bigger percentage cut on gold spent. So, family discount's actually quite good on re-rolling from levels 4 and 5 base compositions, so actually not too bad. Elite Recruiter, I'd say this is actually quite good in general, especially if you're at level 9, you want to cheese out a monkey kick. Hit this one up so you don't have to be level 10, you can be level 9 instead. So I think Elite Recruit is actually quite nice mid-game when you're trying to fish for 4 and 5 cost pieces. Grace of Nature, 5 times chance for IO pieces. Big fan, I like this one. Pretty cause late game, maybe you'll have 2 legendaries, 5 times chance for IO. It's a good gamble. I recommend this one. I think this one's good. For late game, fishing for units, Jailer's Master Key. I really like this one as well, especially, I'd say round 10, round 20 latest is when this one really shines, because you get a lot of instant value out of it with the dismiss, so you can dismiss something like Warriors, which is 18 gold normally, for free, so that's a lot of instant gold, meaning I believe this is a pretty high value. And so a good idea I had in mind for Jailer's Master Kill is actually something along the lines of go beat Belkia, where you're heavily reliant on 3 and 4 cost pieces, and then dismiss humans for free, because that's essentially 14, 16 roughly gold value instantly at round 10. At which point it actually dismisses 4 different 3 cost pieces, 3 different 4 cost pieces, so I'm just generally thinking about those types of synergies, but that's really nice as well. So Jailer's Master Key, I'm a big fan of that in general. Early game, late game not so much because Dismiss is useless. And Shroud of Concealment is the last relic. So conceal your chessboard in preparation phase and 25% chance to evade damage to your courier. So this is essentially a relic that you use past round 30, late game top 3 type of position. Because late game, you're most likely to get hit for higher values of damage, so a 25% chance to evade is on average much more value late game. So if you find yourself in a 3-way tie, squeezing your way for the second and first place between the 2 other people, I actually do think this is quite nice late game, because that 25% chance to not die might just get you a high position to generate that little extra elo. And concealing your chessboard is super nice as well when you're playing mind games between 2 different opponents, or just one other opponent in a 1v1 situation in terms of positioning. So on top of strategy as well, and the chance to dodge lethal, big fan late game. Like past round 30, 35 obviously. Not round 10, 20, probably a bit useless. Alright, so next big mechanic, they reduced max interest from 5 to 4 gold. So that means that from this point onwards, you only need to stay at 40 gold as opposed to 50 in the past. So I was having a bit of a think about this, like what was the general impact on the game? And that being said, when combined with a new relic mechanic, I feel like the circulation of gold in general is quite the same. Because your relics in general will generate you more than 10 gold per 10 rounds, right? So by bumping it down from 5 to 4, the relic value kind of makes up for this in general. So I feel like the pacing of the game might not be too different from before. But in general, if you're going for a specific strategy, it's going to be a lot more volatile and high variance, because relic RNG and the effect you opt for might not support what you initially had in mind. So if you're trying to go straight to level 9/10, having max interest decrease from 5 to 4 and not getting a relic to support your leveling strategy will obviously end in disaster. So that being said, I think getting to level 9 and 10 in general will be a bit more difficult. Still possible, but it's a little harder than before. Moving on, win/lose streak bonus adjustment. So again, slight difference here. So from the main difference in win/lose streak is from when your streak hits 7, 8, and 9, these 3 numbers in particular. As in previously, that would get generally plus 3 gold, whereas now it's plus 2 gold instead. To be honest, I'm okay with this change. It makes the game less snowbally in either direction, so I think this is fine in general. Dismissal cannot be cancelled immediately after dismissal. Fine. Removal effect of a certain chess piece is more conspicuous. I don't even know what that means. So let's move on to the chess piece update. So what we have here is Shadow Shaman, attack interval from 1.5 to 1.4. Pretty irrelevant. Armor reduction of target from it's not that great either. Not really relevant. Shadow, I think they mean Dazzle. Dazzle's not really known for attack speed, who cares? Faceless Void, I'm actually kind of a fan of Faceless Void. 6 Assassins myself, actually. So this little increase it's quite small, but it's meaningful over the long run, I think. I think this is a nice little change for Faceless Void. Give him some attention. So yeah, I think Faceless Void, 6 Assassin, Akia based top compositions are a bit more viable now, so big fan. Alchemist armor from 4 to 6, Omega Alch a bit more stronger, Earthshake attack damage of 67 to 100, attack interval. So that's a big jump in attack damage, but the problem is that Earthshaker's ability is really average and RNG reliant. Doesn't really hit a large area. Not a big fan. Snapfire, buff, good. Warlock, nerf in general, I think that's fine. I think it was a little on the strong side, especially with the Golem resummons. But I'm not really sure about the notation. Does that mean 3-star Warlock's nerfed? What about 2-star? Why is it 5 to 10 seconds? Not too sure, but nerf to Warlock is always nice. Disruptor nerf, I think it was deserved. Disruptor was a little OP. And let's see, damage 50 per tick at round 2. 3 stars are relevant, no one gets there. 2 stars are the most important one, so 200 to 150 is actually quite large, 25% reduction. Okay, so that's actually quite a big nerf in terms of impact to things like God Dragon, 6 Orc, wherever else you fit him in. So, I think Disruptor's still okay for the silence utility, but it's a little rough in terms of if you use them for damage. Queen of Pain buff for Disorient, yeah, not too bad. I think that's nice. Half a second at 2-star, good. Invoke Armor 5 to 6, Magic Resistance 20% to 30%, yeah, that's okay. Alright, on to Synergies update. Now, this patch is huge. Undead, this is the main change. -6 armor instead of -5. That might be nice, like, when you're early mid-game, placing in random synergies, placing, like, when you're playing what's you given. That's nice. 4 Undead might be pretty decent mid-game now. 6 health buff from 30 to 35%. 9 elves is a little more viable, I guess. But overall, it's an change. Not that big. Alright, Troll Voodoo Frenzy. So this one was actually quite a large change, in particular for Legion Commander 6 Trolls. So increase attack of all allies by 35 instead of 30. Okay, that's nice. It's a little buff there. But for 6 Trolls, it stacks at max stack is 15 instead of 20. And it only gets 15 attack speed per successful attack. So it goes from 400 to what's 15 by 15? I think that's roughly, let me calculate that. 100. I can't calculate. Anyway, let's just say it's a big reduction. I think that's roughly like what is that? 50. Yeah, I can't math right now. Soz guys, cannot math right now. But yes, it's a big nerf. It's a big nerf regardless. Anyway, back onto the next one. You know what? Let's get the calculator out. I'm tilted. 15 times 15. 225. Yeah, there we go. 225. So going from 400 attack speed to 225. That's a really big difference. See you later, Legion Troll. I think that max stack is rough. Alright, friendly. So this is the big change here. All allies have 30% chance to crit is for 400 instead of 25%. So Nick 6 Assassins buffed once again. Further emphasizing the point that I think Faceless Void 3-star with 6 Assassins and a key bonus might be a decent composition now. Gains a backstab to leap after killing an enemy. 5% chance to crit for 500% removed. So 9 Assassins do face a nerf here. You know, the reroll version where you play Slark, Bounty, and Spirit Breaker. So, but that being said, I think it's still a fine composition. 5% whatever. And you get it back here. Tauren buff. I feel like this isn't that impactful. No one ever goes for Shaman for Tauren anymore. Slight Knight buff. It's okay, but it still gets rolled by Kira at the end of the day. So kind of irrelevant, given how prominent 4 Kira is in the meta right now. So yeah, I don't think it's that impactful. Naki, Whisper of Dark, chance of time lock from 5% to 7%, Faceless Void buff. Nice. And then onto the items update. So what we got here from your loot box. So they're really low quality items like Ring of Reach and the Little Ring, Voidstone, Raven Mighty Blades of Attack, and Quarterstaff is removed from the drop list. And the only way you can get it is from high level items like Javelin, Mithril Hammer, etc, etc. So, the big takeaway from this one is that you can no longer get Telescope rounds 1, 2, and 3 for that bullshit snowball. So, I know a lot of you hate hunters, hate that Telescope cheese, so I bet you'll be celebrating after this once. I personally am too. Now, early game will take a bit more skill as opposed to just clicking hunters and a telescope, so that's a good change, quite unique. I didn't expect them to do it that way, but regardless, I am a fan of that. Next up, we got Loot Box, Sacred Relic removed from drop list. No one ever got that anyway, or very rarely. So yeah, Sacred Relic removed from Loot Box. It's okay, I guess. You never really got Sacred Relic past round 35, so I wouldn't say it's game changing. Neutral enemies have a much higher chance to drop items when killed. Alright, so that makes up for the less items, or the replaced items on 10, 20, 30 from Relics, so that's nice. A little RNG. That's actually quite a lot of RNG adding, but you know, can't complain. We'll take it. Crown recipe added. Void Stone plus Void Stone. That's how you know. That's how you get Void Stone from now on. You have to dismantle a crown. Interesting. And Staff of Wizardry from tier 2 to tier 1. So I like this change. This kind of brings back mages into the meta, in my opinion, because previously it was really hard to build things like Dagon, Scythe of Vise, you know, things like that, because Staff of Wizardry was locked at tier 2 with Crown, both of which you need to put mages together, because mages are very item reliant. So the fact that Staff of Wizardry is down to tier 1, Crown's at tier 2, it's much more possible to get mage items. So I think you can expect to see a lot more 9 mage based compositions in your games from now on. I'm personally going to try playing it more, see how it feels, but my opinion is, yeah, mages are back with this nice little change from Staff of Wizardry from tier 2 to tier 1. Mechanism, Guardian Greaves, 500 health instead of 600. Fair, it's a pretty busted item. I think 500 is a nice little balance. Still a good item regardless. Tango, buff from rebuff back to 1 to 8 HP instead of 1 to 7 HP recovered. Big fan. I love my tangos. I always have to open, so this is a big big up for me. And yeah, that is all the patch notes here. Fix bugs, no bugs fixed. It's a perfect game, obviously. And yeah, would you look at that? That is the patch notes for today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I personally like this change overall. Big props to the devs. They put in a lot of new content here. This will keep the game fresh for a while. Things we can experiment on stream, off stream, theory craft, things to think about. You know what? I'm a fan in general. I like it when the game changes, so it's not stale and boring every day in, day out. But yeah, I think that's it for the patch notes for today. So yeah, that being said, as always, like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you liked what you saw, as well as head over to my Twitch over at twitch.tv/crackattack_420 to catch me live, which is 7 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time most days. Anyways, thanks for watching.